Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family. I know that there is one question you all have in your head at the moment. When is Zaire-Emery, Presnel, Kimpembe, Marquinhos, Nuno, Mendes, and Fabian Ruiz back? And that's exactly what we're going to be answering in this video. Starting off with Nuno Mendes, who obviously got injured long way back in March against Stade de Rennes at home. And after getting the injury, he was ruled out for the rest of the season. Then when this season started, Nuno Mendes already started preparing himself, having resumed individual training on the pitch. Then out of nowhere, Nuno Mendes had a relapse of his summer injury. He suffered a rupture of the conjoint tendon in his right hamstring while working with an individual fitness coach on vacation this summer. After feeling discomfort last week, a relapse was noted and a decision to do surgery was made. He obviously flew to Finland and had his surgery, and this is what his surgeon Lasse Lempainen had to say. We're very satisfied with the operation. We have set a very precise recovery plan. It's possible he is present for Champions League knockout stages, convinced they will return at a very high level. His expected return, according to the report, was February 2024. At the moment, Nuno Mendes is continuing his treatment protocol as issued by the club. If I had to predict, Nuno Mendes would be back in training around late January and back in game time mid-February to late February. Next up, we have Marquinhos, our capital, who obviously came off a halftime against Argentina with an injured hamstring. And the club announced that Marquinhos will remain in treatment for 10 days after suffering a small injury to his right hamstring. Since then, 14 days have gone and he's back running on the pitch individually. Marquinhos is now back in training, which means he will be in the squad for the FC Nantes game this weekend. Next up, it's El Patron Kimpembe. Obviously, last season versus Marseille, he ruptured his right Achilles tendon and had to undergo surgery. He's since then had his surgery and even returned to PSG training. Although Presnel Kimpembe participated in part of the collective training with the squad today, his return to competition is not expected for several weeks and is subject to the progress of how he feels. At the moment, he's part of his recovery process. Presnel Kimpembe will undergo a surgical checkup in the coming days. At the moment, Kimpembe, this is the closest he's been to coming back from his injury, and with even a report mentioning that Paris Saint-Germain are not planning to sign a left back in January if Presnel Kimpembe returns back well, which means that they have high hopes. They feel that Kimpembe will come back from the injury better than he ever has been, at least in the past 3 seasons, which is high confidence by the board and management for Presnel Kimpembe, who's been out for a very long time now. I would guess Presnel Kimpembe returns to collective training this week and back playing games late to mid-December. Golden boy Zaire-Emery obviously injured himself with France against Gibraltar straight away after scoring, suffering a medium severity sprain to his right ankle, and has been out for the rest of the 2023 calendar year. But great news came out yesterday. Zaire-Emery is ahead of schedule with his recovery and will be ready after the winter break. However, PSG are keen to take their time with the player. And as you can see by this video right here, Zaire-Emery is somehow back in training much earlier than expected. Even more good news came out later. Zaire-Emery is recovered from his sprained ankle. He took part in almost all the training with the group today. I mean, Zaire-Emery is already back in training, and I predict him to be back on the pitch either the Dortmund or the Lille game. And let me just end this with Zaire-Emery is an absolute physical specimen. Returning from the injury that he suffered this early on shows that he has such a strong mentality and obviously an extremely strong physique. And last but not least, Fabian Ruiz, obviously, who suffered a dislocation of his right shoulder without a fracture, thankfully, away against Le Havre. Obviously, the players had a special tribute for him after the game, holding his shirt after the 2-0 victory over Le Havre. But again, great news when it comes to Fabian Ruiz, because PSG is confident that Fabian Ruiz will return back on the field in a month, showcasing that it was nothing that dangerous when he came to his injury. I presume he comes back to collective training around early January and back in game time early January as well. Well, you move away from this video knowing now when the 5 Paris Saint-Germain injured players will be coming back. If you enjoyed this video and thought it was helpful and informative, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the PSG YouTube channel. And as always, allez Paris!